Hello guys, this is your friend and we are back with a new fanfic. Which is What If Naruto x Origa Discordia x Hachishaku-sama. Dark Elf Harem Part 1. And if you enjoy this fanfic then please press the like button and subscribe to my channel for more fanfic like this. And now let's start the fanfic. The Kyuubi was a nine-tailed demon fox, which had the power to destroy mountains with a single swipe of its tail, could smash through the trees just as easily as one could breath, and fueled with rage to destroy everything in its path. Right now the village hidden in the leaf was standing in its way. Its shinobi stood in its way, and the Yondaime Hokage of the leaf was in its way on top of a toad with a child in his arms. The giant demon fox roared, "Forgive me for what I must do, Naruto, forgive me," said the Yondaime as he kissed his son's forehead before preparing the seals for his son to carry a burden. Unknown to the Yondaime, he failed to notice a woman in the shadows, as the said woman was watching the battle with interest. The woman's name was Origa of Discordia, the mistress of darkness and Dark Elf Queen of Eostia. Now why was the Dark Elf Queen here in this world when she should be in hers ruling her kingdom? While she was in her kingdom she felt a disturbance and it was calling her, plus she sensed a lot of power that was also calling her. She needed to check it out and see what exactly made her come here to this dimension. The disturbance she felt led her here to this exact location. Shrine Temple in Fire Country. On the night of the Kyuubi attack was a priest shrine temple that held lots of treasures, historical data, scrolls, you name it. On that fateful night earthquakes were rumbling from Konoha, the Leaf Village, to the capital of Fire Country. The Kyuubi was attacking the Leaf Village as its shinobi were trying to defend it. Inside the temple various objects were shaking due to the earthquakes as some stuff fell off shelves like pots, vases and small statues. The temple was looking a mess as paintings fell down with scrolls falling off the bookcase. Only thing that was still standing was a pedestal that was holding something on top of it, and what was it holding was a 30-inch Jizo seal statue, as you could see writing with a warning by saying, "Don't touch. Very dangerous entity sealed inside." Now what was so dangerous about this Jizo seal statue? And what was it containing? With one more earthquake the pedestal tilted and with a slow motion the Jizo seal statue fell off and fell onto the ground, broken in half. Once the statue fell apart, a rather tall shadowed figure manifested itself out the broken statue, looming over its broken prison. "Po po 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 po," chanted a masculine voice the shadowed being was doing as it smiled creepily, stretching out its long arms and long slender legs as it began to spoke. "I am free. I am free from the confines of that accused prison those monks sealed me in," the shadowed figure said in a female voice as she looked around her surroundings. Seeing that she was in a temple of some sort by the looks of it, she grinned coldly, turning to her direction. She sensed a lot of yokai chakra, and it was coming from Konoha. For 50 years she had been sealed away during the Second Shinobi War. And now that yokai chakra was attracting her, she needed it because the Jizo seal held her in for so long that she was getting thirsty for yokai power. She walked up towards a wall and punched it, making a big hole as she floated in the air, taking to the dark sky. As she flew to where Konoha was, her dark blue eyes saw a giant fox destroying a village. She grinned, sensing its anger, its rage, its magnificent amount of yokai chakra. She was on her way to that giant fox and tried to absorb some of its chakra to replenish her stamina and power. Outskirts of Konoha. Intriguing. This demonic nine-tailed fox is. Such hatred and power I can feel. If only I could use my powers to influence the beast and have it serve my monster army, thought Origa, who was still watching with interest, seeing the blonde-haired man in a coat summon something that she herself could not cross if she had great power. Besides, it wasn't like the Shinigami wanted her soul soon, judging by the way things were going with the boy. The spirit made her way to her destination, following the fox as she floated up in the air, watching as she widened her eyes, seeing a blonde-haired man summon the Shinigami. It wasn't long before the Kyuubi in all its might fell to the strong grip of the death god, pulling it into the body of the baby boy, which shocked Origa. Seeing the man make seals along the child's body, in doing so the Shinigami left with its prize. A man's body was now soulless for that very same reason, falling dead as the child cried. Before the Shinigami could leave, he cast a glance at the 8-foot-tall woman as she looked back at him unfazed. As the Shinigami finally vanished away, he was aware of what the 8-feet-tall woman was and knew of her history. As he regarding what she did years ago, he said nothing and just vanished, leaving her alone. Origa, who was in the shadows, caught this and wondered what the Shinigami saw in his direction. Guess she wasn't exactly alone, as she thought. Narrowing her eyes, she began to walk out the shadows, heading towards the crying baby boy. Origa knelt down, examining the child to find faint whisker-like birthmarks on his face. Origa suspected this was a side effect of seeing such sealing, which would mean the instant the humans knew of the fox's current existence, they would realize the fox is still alive in this child. Origa realized what this could also mean: the humans would lash out, calling for the child's death. If such a thing happened, the child would never reach his own potential and power. They would keep him weak and stunt his growth in power. She wasn't going to allow that. She wasn't going to let the humans waste such potential. Picking up the crying baby, remembering his name, her ears twitched when she heard a creepy chant. She looked up and looked in shock at what was before her. Po, 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 chanted the tall woman, glaring at Origa Discordia. Origa couldn't describe what she was seeing. She saw a very tall woman in front of her. She is much taller than she is. Why is this woman so abnormally big? Who or what are you? Whispered Origa Discordia, glaring at the tall woman holding her scepter. The tall woman focused her attention on the newborn baby boy crying. Ignoring Origa's question, she reached out her long arm to take him from Origa, only to be blasted by an energy blast from Origa's scepter as it sent her into a tree. Origa narrowed her eyes, looking at the tall woman, who had the appearance of wearing a white morning dress and straw hat. Before her eyes widened at seeing the tall woman get back up, looking completely unscathed. Origa didn't understand. That blast she casted would have killed anyone, and yet this woman isn't harmed or damaged. I'm going to ask again. Who are you? Demanded Origa, still holding the crying Naruto while aiming her scepter at the tall lady. I am Hachishaku-sama. You are? Hachishaku-sama now asked, looking at the Dark Elf Queen with slight interest, as she could see this woman before her had power within her, dark power, and it was attracting her, but she was thirsty for yokai chakra that was sealed into the boy. Origa could only stare. Something was off about this woman, or was she even a woman? Origa detected lots of power and evil energy into this woman. I am Origa Discordia, Dark Elf Queen of Eostia. What are you? Origa introduced, but asked again, wanting to know exactly what she is. I am a yokai, she answered creepily, staring at Origa, then stared towards Naruto in Origa's arms. So that explains it. She's a demon, Origa thought, but soon leapt away when she saw Hachishaku-sama's hair turned into barbed hooks and attempted to attack her. Give me the boy, and I'll let you live. Hachishaku-sama spoke. Origa narrowed her eyes. There was no way in hell she was giving up this boy who has a demon fox contained within him. Never. Origa spat before putting Naruto down and used her scepter to blast Hachishaku-sama again, only for the 8-foot-tall woman to dash at her in speed and caught Origa in a chokehold, pinning the Dark Elf Queen against a tree. Origa gagged as she was being choked by Hachishaku-sama. She used her free hand to blast lightning at Hachishaku-sama's face, which made the tall woman drop. Origa, who got her scepter and blasted Hachishaku-sama with dark fire. Hachishaku-sama looked murderous as she extended her nails into claws and lunged at Origa in an attempt to claw and rip apart the Dark Elf Queen. Origa dodged a few of Hachishaku-sama's claw strikes as the Dark Elf woman used a ice spell to freeze Hachishaku-sama in solid ice. Origa stared, seeing the ice starting to crack and that Hachishaku-sama was breaking free. Oh no, you don't, Origa said, narrowing her eyes as she snapped her fingers, causing the ice to shatter and evaporate into nothingness. With a sigh of relief, she finally defeated the tall woman as she hurried over to where Naruto was. As she used her sleep spell to put him to sleep before she could grab him, she froze, feeling a shiver down her spine. She turned her head slowly and saw Hachishaku-sama towering over her. P.O. Hachishaku-sama yelled with her scary expression and tackled Origa on the ground, knocking the scepter out the Dark Elf Queen's hand. The tall woman overshadowed herself into her spirit form and went inside of Origa Discordia. Origa had a horrified expression as she screamed with her eyes glowing red, and she was glowing. "Ah!" screamed Origa with her body on fire, and that a swirl of darkness and yokai chakra surrounded her. Her body was reforming as she screamed much louder as she was completely consumed and swallowed by a mixture of yokai chakra and her dark magic. "No, no," were her last words as her whole body changed in her visage. The darkness and yokai chakra vanished off of Origa Hu's completely. She slightly cracked open her eyes, which were blurry as she struggled to stand as she noticed something was completely off about her. The first thing she noticed that she felt very tall and that her were very heavy. Her vision gotten better as she looked at how long her dark-skinned arms were as they were slender-like. She ran to the nearest pond to get a good look at her appearance. Widening her eyes in shock, she saw everything was off about her body. She was very tall, same height as Hachishaku-sama. Her were heavy and large, her thighs and hips were round and plump, everything about her body was big. Even her. She noticed she still has her dark skin, her hair was still long that it reached down to her ankles. Her eyes were different, her right eye was amber-colored and her left eye was dark blue. Looking down at her nails, they were sharp and long. Then it hit Origa, her and Hachishaku-sama merged as one. Meaning Hachishaku-sama attempted to possess her and gain control over her body and mind, but because of Origa's will and the dark magic within her caused a chain reaction against Hachishaku-sama's spirit that tried to enter into Origa's body. "Ho!" was her first words as she clamped her mouth in shock. Her voice is much higher and doubled, meaning she has Hachishaku-sama's voice mixed with her voice. Grasping her head, she felt the memories of Hachishaku-sama awaken within her mind. Her memories of Eostia and her ruling were shared with Hachishaku-sama's memories. Origa now looked towards the sleeping baby Naruto, as she reached for him and felt him glow red with yokai chakra as it seeped into her, feeling her strength and ghost physical form increase. Origa grinned a ear-to-ear smile staring at the sleeping boy. "You will do, Naruto Uzumaki." She spoke as her long elf ears twitched, hearing something else coming her way as she cradled Naruto in her arms and took him. She wasn't sure where to go. Maybe she could try opening a portal to head back to Eostia, but her mind for some reason told her to stay here. Like she has to connect with this world. She waved off the thought of returning to her world and decided to vanish away with Naruto in her arms. She didn't know how did this merging feels. But one thing for sure, it felt amazing to her. She wasn't Origa Discordia anymore or Hachishaku-sama, she wasn't just two different people. She was one entity that would put the yokai and demons to shame. A monster that kills children, a dark elf queen with a goal of ruling all, fused into a new entity. Now sitting in a cave deep in the forest, currently feeding young Naruto who was on her nipple. "Po, po, po, po," she chanted, caressing baby Naruto who was drinking milk from her. Looking down at the boy with a smile, the boy reminded her of Chloe. Smiling at what she could do with this boy now that his parents are presumably dead. She could raise him all to herself and make him her new subordinate and future mate. Realizing she has no people that would serve her and that her faithful servant Chloe are out of her reach, meaning her title of Dark Queen is in shambles. A new fate has arisen. A new different path she is now walking on. She now walks down the path of yokai and mistress of darkness. And Naruto Uzumaki, her future subordinate and mate, will remain at her side. Smiling as she rested her back against the wall with Naruto still on her. Her name. What was her name now since she has fused? Grinning a creepy smile, Origa had finally spoken. "The elemental nations will know my name as Origashiku-sama." Spoken. Origashiku-sama with a sadistic grin. The next day, Origashiku-sama now off to find her a decent place to stay and raise her future subordinate. She couldn't stay in a cave which wasn't home-like for her. She wondered where could she go. This new world she is in is much different than hers. In her Eostia her skies were red while this world has blue skies. So much she needed to learn about this world and how to function in it. currently wearing a black morning dress while wearing a black sun hat. She couldn't stand wearing anything that's light-colored, especially if it's white. While at the same time she's wearing a purple sash for Naruto to be carried in as the boy was just asleep and safe around Hachishaku-sama. Looking at her reflection in the nearest river, she could see Hachishaku-sama's visage. She wondered how long will this merging wear off. Or, it could be permanent, meaning she will remain to look like this for the rest of her life. She wondered what would Chloe say if she were to see her like this. Chloe, the half-human half-dark elf, her loyal and faithful subordinate, Hachishaku-sama thought about her servant after her fusing with Hachishaku-sama. Chloe was very loyal to her and was always at her side. She didn't know whether if she could return to her world and convince Chloe to come with her on this new path she has chosen. Meaning she would have to throw away her status as Dark Elf Queen, meaning she would also have to release the monsters she has under her control with the use of her dark magic and let them be free. What of her people? She knew her race of dark elves in her world were on the brink of extinction and death, that they depended on her for survival. Could she really abandon her people to start anew on this new path she's walking? She was sure that her people would be fine without her. Maybe she could fake her death and take Chloe with her on this new path. Meaning her and Chloe would be the only two dark elves in this new world called the Elemental Nations. She wondered how was she going to rebuild her race here. With a glance at baby Naruto, who is still sleeping in her sash, she knew he was the answer to help her rebuild her race. Maybe she could get Chloe to help start anew, since would be the only two dark elf females here with one boy. Closing her eyes, thinking hard of her decision, clenching her fists. She hasn't forgotten about Celestine Lucross, her enemy and rival. She no longer has any interest in fighting Celestine anymore. No more fighting, it's time their rivalry ends. She's made up her mind, as she opened a portal with her dark magic and transported back to Eostia to bring Chloe with her along with any of her spell books and other belongings. Eostia Dark Castle. The Dark Castle, its origin rose from the earth, guarded by a magical force field that protects it from outside threats of any kind. The effects of the force field made the sky red should it be day or night. The air is harder to breathe and earth life slowly dies around the castle. The owner of this castle is Origa of Discordia. The portal opened within the dark castle of Eostia. Hachishaku-sama was walking down the hallways heading to her private chambers to take anything she needed to take with her to the new world. The Elemental Nation staring at the door of her chambers, she opened it. Opening the door, walking in, having a good look at her private chambers, seeing this place looked like a laboratory or some sorts. She had lots of books on dark magic, lots of scrolls, various ingredients for remedies for potions and spells, along with any other incantation. Then looking around at everything she had at her disposal. With a swish and flick using her hands, her dark magic started packing up all of her spell books, scrolls, ingredients, putting it all in one storage trunk. While her magic was doing all of the packing, she went over to a table and put baby Naruto on it, who was still sleeping. As she removed the blanket he was covered in, staring at his stomach as she saw the Kyuubi seal make its appearance. Before she could touch the seal, she heard a voice. Origa-sama, you're back. The blonde dark elf spoke before widening her eyes in shock, staring at her queen with her mouth agape. Origa-sama, she squeaked in disbelief at how big her queen has gotten. Hachishaku-sama turned towards her faithful servant with a calm expression. The blonde dark elf looked behind her queen and saw a human baby boy, narrowing her eyes at a human baby boy. Origa-sama, what is that human baby doing here? She said, almost reaching for her dagger, only for Hachishaku-sama's hair sway into a tendril and smack the dagger out Chloe's hand, while the blonde looked baffled at her queen's behavior. Stay your hand, Chloe. This human boy will be an exception for us in the new path we will walk on, Hachishaku-sama said, confusing Chloe, who tilted her head. What do you mean, my lady? Can this human really fit into your kingdom? Chloe questioned, and to her surprise she saw her queen shake her head. This child holds a demon fox inside him, with great godlike potential. Origa-sama replied before telling her faithful servant about what she witnessed and explained to Chloe about her fusion and encounter with Hachishaku-sama. Chloe could only have the expression of a gaping fish after hearing her queen's fusion with the monstrous Hachishaku-sama that is a yokai. "What is his name, my lady?" Chloe asked, looking at Naruto. "The boy's name is Naruto Uzumaki, from what I learned," Origa-sama said before looking at Naruto's seal on his stomach as she touched it, as she saw two soul fragments of both Minato Namikaze and Kushina Uzumaki, meaning they left a part of their souls inside Naruto as a failsafe should the fox wish to control him. She even saw the fox's memories too, and who was its first jailer, Mito Uzumaki, founder of the Uzumaki clan. Then she passed it down to Kushina Uzumaki. Then she saw the Yondaime's memories of him battling Madara Uchiha, who summoned the Kyuubi and controlled the beast into destroying Konoha. Channeling her dark magic into the seal, making a few adjustments, her dark magic molded the boy's chakra as it fused inside the seal Kyuubi while it was under its slumber. The cage and the fox itself was consumed in darkness and was now being under the complete will and influence of Origa-sama, just to keep the beast in check and so it won't control her future mate. Origa-sama turned to Chloe. "You and I have a lot to do considering this boy. Once he is 12 years of age, I have something planned for him." She spoke, looking at her future monster with a light smirk before looking at her faithful servant. "Chloe," said Origa-sama sternly, making Chloe turn to her attention. "Yes," replied the dark elf teenager. "I want you to come with me on this brand new path that I'm walking on. I have decided to abandon my status as queen and give up on the war between Celestine and I. Will you follow me?" "Even if I'm not your queen anymore," spoken Origa-sama with seriousness. Chloe could only look even more shocked. "But my lady, what about the people? What will they do without you?" Chloe asked, wondering what made her queen say this. "The people are free to do as they please. I'm sure they will be fine without me. Will you be with me? Join me on this new conquest," Origa-sama said, looking at her faithful servant. Not in a position to say no, Chloe owed Origa-sama her life and has taken care of her. She looked up at her mother figure. "I will come with you, Lady Origa," spoken Chloe with a smile as Origa-sama smiled. "Pack up, we're leaving." "I'm going to fake my death, have to make it look convincing," said Origa-sama, putting Naruto back in her sash while using her dark magic to poof away her storage trunks with all of her belongings. 2 days later at the Dark Cathedral was a funeral for Origa Discordia, the Dark Elf Queen. Her cause of death was that someone poisoned her wine and it killed her. Guards are now looking for the culprit on who murdered the queen. Could it have been Chloe? The council accused Chloe as the murderer, given how Chloe was always close to Origa, so Chloe is now a fugitive for the murder of Origa Discordia as the news spread that the Dark Elves were now without a queen. As for the monsters Origa once had control over have been killed and the human slaves. Meanwhile, after the funeral, Origa-sama opened her portal with Chloe at her side as they took one last glance at her former kingdom as Naruto was in her sash. "Well, goodbye Eostia," Origa-sama said with a small smile as her and Chloe walked into the portal and left their world. The Elemental Nations. The portal opened, revealing Origa-sama and Chloe, who is holding her belongings while Naruto is Origa-sama's sash. "Where are we, my lady?" Chloe asked, looking at her former queen. Origa-sama is smiling as she unsealed the very destination that has been sealed up. "My dear Chloe, we are at Uzushirogakure, our newest home and our new future village to start our race," said Origa-sama, looking at the village that was currently in ruins from the Second Shinobi War. Finally at the gates of Uzushirogakure, which looked destroyed, as Origa-sama and Chloe calmly walked in, only to gasp at what they saw, seeing the remains of Naruto's dead kin littering all over the ground. They walked further into the village, looking in shock at the destroyed village as Chloe looked from destroyed buildings, remains of dead Uzumaki clan. Marching over to the Uzukage Tower, seeing it also looked deserted, then Origa-sama darted her eyes at the Uzu Daimyo Castle that looked pretty much deserted but still intact. "So, this is Naru-kun's clan's home." Quote. Origa-sama spoke as she walked inside the Uzukage Tower heading into the office with Chloe following, seeing lots of dead Uzu nins alongside other dead bodies, seeing their molded headbands, which confirmed these dead nins were Iwa, Kumo and Kiri Shinobi. Heading over to the desk where burned up paperwork and whatnot was it as she picked up a disfigured booklet, opening it as she blew the dust off of it, the handwriting of the Sandame Uzukage. Shanks Uzumaki, N. Yes, Shanks from One Piece, deal with it. Origa-sama starts reading what was said in the booklet. Dear fellow surviving Uzumaki, I am Red Hair Shanks Uzumaki, the Sandame Uzukage. I am leaving you this message should you be a survivor of our unfortunate fate. I am writing this as my last entry. The combined forces of Kurigakure, Iwagakure and Kumogakure at this time making their way across the ocean to lay siege to our village. We took a brave front and battled the combined forces of the three villages. But our forces were falling. We tried to ask Konoha for help, but it seems they never reached our call for help, and has left us to death. Seeing that we were betrayed, we had no choice but to make our last stand against the enemy alongside my shinobi and the Uzu daimyo and his samurai. We all fought to the death and accepted our fates. I leave this book to any surviving Uzumaki who managed to make it out alive the purge, in hopes we would not be forgotten and that we are to be avenged by those who feared us for our power and strength. That also includes betrayers who left us to die. And P.S. If you ever find our vault that is in the Uzu Daimyo Castle holds lots of treasures and scrolls, only a Uzumaki can open the vault. Origa-sama said, finished reading the booklet scowling. She tossed the book away, sitting on a chair, taken in everything that she and Chloe learned. Now they knew Naruto now is the last of his clan. It's very tragic. What are we going to do, my lady? How are we going to start our race here? Asked Chloe as Hachishaku-sama looked at her. It's simple. We're going to start our new generation of dark elves with Naru-kun, she said with Chloe's eyes threatening to pop out, hoping she misheard her former queen. Yes, Chloe. Naruto will father our future children. We will be his wives and teach him how to be a man, said Hachishaku-sama. But my lady, I'm not sure if I'm ready to be a mother, and you know how I feel about, Chloe retorted, but was silenced by her mother figure's hand. Chloe, I know how you feel about letting someone touch you, but we need to do this in order to revive our race by helping Naruto restore his clan with our genes. I can't do this alone and I need your help, Hachishaku-sama said, looking at her surrogate daughter. Will you help me down this path to restart our next generation of dark elves, with Uzumaki and Namikaze blood? Asked Hachishaku-sama, seeing Chloe look away, feeling conflicted. Very well, I'll do it for you, my lady. When exactly do we do this? Asked Chloe, looking at her leader. We start rebuilding our race once he is at the age of 12, we're starting him off early to be a man. I'll make a potion to make both of us highly fertile when the time comes, said Hachishaku-sama, looking at the sleeping baby Naruto that was currently on her drinking her milk as she blushed lightly, seeing him her off. We're going to produce strong dark elves, she said, looking at him. She couldn't wait in 12 years. How are we going to rebuild Uzushirogakure with it being in ruins? Asked Chloe with Hachishaku-sama thinking it over. I'll think of something to rebuild it, she said, wondering how was she going to pull it off. Eostia at the moment, a certain mercenary, was very upset as he clenched his fist in absolute anger. He heard word of Origa Discordia's death. Now why was he angry about her death? He dreamed of a perfect paradise where all women in this pitiful land would submit to all men's desires, and he wanted Origa a part of it. He wanted to break the Dark Elf Queen by making her a submissive bitch and slave to his. Such a waste that she died and Chloe the Dark Half-Elf went missing and is nowhere to be found. He sent his spies to pay attention and find Chloe everywhere in this land. He was just going to have to break her. Origa may be dead, but at least he can focus on the Shield Maidens and Celestine, as he grinned at the thought but was still angry that Origa turned out dead. In Celestine's castle, Celestine could only look shocked, staring at Claudia, her bodyguard. Are you certain of this? Asked the reborn high elf goddess, seeing her subordinate nod. Yes, my lady, Origa Discordia is dead, said Claudia, looking at her leader, who frowned as she looked away. How was it possible? How was it possible for her rival to die? Both her and Origa were known to be immortal. Something is amiss. Just how did Origa exactly die? It was quite unheard of. And Chloe was the one who did it. That surprised Celestine. Chloe had always been at Origa's side. It didn't make sense. Chloe just couldn't have done it. Celestine could tell something was wrong about this. If Origa is actually dead, then the war is over, meaning the Dark Elves were now without Origa Discordia to lead them. My lady, asked Claudia in concern. That'd be all for now, thanks Claudia, spoke Celestine, looking away as Claudia bowed and left her leader alone, who is pondering in thought about Origa's death. Why did she have a feeling that something is wrong with this picture? Konoha Hokage Tower. Still no sign of Naruto. Jiraiya? Asked the Sandaime, looking at the Toad Sage, who shook his head. No. Not even the Toads can find him. We've looked everywhere for him. Spoke the Toad Sage, seeing his sensei frown and look away. I believe he was taken last night. Spoke the Sandaime, smoking his pipe, with Jiraiya having a look of worry. You don't think it was Iwa that found out Minato had a son? Jiraiya asked, with his sensei shake his head. No. After the sealing was done, I've sent hunter nins to find Naruto. Their Inuzukas of scent stated that Naruto was taken away by someone powerful. The culprit's sense had a smell of unimaginable power and is something that can't be dealt with. The Sandaime said while scowling. Who do you think it is? I'll see if I can get the Toads in on this. Maybe they can tell us and describe the culprit who took Naruto. Jiraiya said, heading for the window. Very well. Try to have your spy network look everywhere for Naruto. The Sandaime said, seeing Jiraiya nod, then leave. Where are you, Naruto? Thought the Sandaime, smoking his pipe. With Hachishaku-sama. Currently at the daimyo castle in the treasure room, looking at the vault. She was quite amazed at how big this castle was. Much bigger than her dark palace. As she looked at the vault, seeing she'd have to open it with Naruto's blood, as she poked baby Naruto with her nail, drawing little blood. As he cried a little, she quickly soothed him, letting one drop of blood touch the seal of the vault. As it opened wide, walking in, she saw lots of treasures the Uzumakis had owned. From weapons, to scrolls, to artifacts, statues, you name it. As she walked towards the scrolls, seeing lots of Fuinjutsu scrolls and summoning scrolls, it seemed like she was going to be here for some time now and train herself with her fused powers. As she also saw a strange red Oni mask with black markings on it, picking it up, also looking at the scroll for the said mask, opening it up to read it. The mask of Tarakudo, king of Shidouken, she said, looking at the mask, then back at the scroll, reading its information on what does it do. Summon all tribes of the Shidouken, said Chloe, looked up, reading this mask with interest as she stared at it. Origa-Shiku-sama's right hand was molded with yokai chakra mixed with black magic, as she absorbed all of the demonic power from the mask, emerging from the ground behind her and Chloe. With Naruto in her sash were human-shaped creatures decked out in black ninja robes and masks. The two looked up in awe, seeing these black figures. Origa-Shiku-sama grasped her head as she felt the memories of Tarakudo and that he was king of Oni and Shodoken. She even obtained some of his mental powers. With a grin, she gave her first command. All right, my dark shinobi, now that all of you are under my direct command, and first order I will give you all is to clean up this castle and to clean the whole village. Bury all of the Uzumaki in their respective grave sites so their souls can rest easy. And try to rebuild Uzushirogakure for me, please. Origa-Shiku-sama said as they did their first command following their new leader. What now, Origa-Shiku-sama? Chloe said, looking at her master. We see what else the Uzumakis possess, then we'll hit the hay. Origa-Shiku-sama spoke as she picked up a summoning scroll, summoning dragon minions that once were under the control of the dragon demon Shendu. Hours later, Origa-Shiku-sama is sleeping in the Royal Uzu Daimyo master bedroom, with Chloe sleeping in the same bed with her. Naruto is in a baby crib she conjured up. Origa-Shiku-sama's dreamscape, sitting on the new Uzu throne with little Naruto on her lap, who is 6 years old, with Chloe at her side, as her dream had started to change. Instead of being in the Uzu throne, she was on top of a pile of dead children. Looking around, all she could see was just piles of dead children, as she saw someone she did not expect to see. It's you, yelled Origa-Shiku-sama. Po, po, po. Good evening Origa-san, spoke Hachishaku-sama with a grin on her face staring at her fused partner. Origa-shaku-sama's dreamscape, it's you, yelled Origa-shaku-sama. Po. 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 Good evening Origa-san, spoke Hachishaku-sama with a grin on her face staring at her fused partner. How are you here, inside my mindscape? Asked Origa-shaku-sama staring at Hachishaku-sama. You seem to forget Origa-san, the moment I attempted to possess you failed due to your dark magic and your incredible will to suppress me from taking over your body. However, our souls have become one. In other words, because of this fusion our souls have linked and merged together as one. Hachishaku-sama explained, seeing Origa-shaku-sama look surprised. So, you mean, she spoke, but Hachishaku-sama cut her off. Yes Origa, our fusion is permanent. I can't get out of your body, I am trapped in your soul and mind, yet you have my physical appearance and yokai nature plus my abilities, we're going to be stuck like this for eternity. Hachishaku-sama said with her dark blue eyes closed as she folded her arms under her heavy. Origa-shaku-sama could only remain silent after hearing what the 8-foot spirit said. Their fusion is permanent, guess it can't be helped, she'll have to accept it. What exactly is your story? Asked Origa-shaku-sama staring at her fused partner who opened one eye. I am Hachishaku-sama, the 8-foot-tall woman. As you know, I am a yokai, a demon at that. Most refer to me as a monster, which is true, because I am a killer of children, Hachishaku-sama said with the last part in a dark tone. Origa-shaku-sama's blood froze when she heard how Hachishaku-sama is a child killer. Did that mean she was going to wind up killing children too? For eons I have existed throughout the elemental nations, even around the era of the Sage of the Six Paths. During the Sage of the Six Paths I was once human, and lived in a village training young boys on how to be men by having with them, she said with Origa-shaku-sama looking surprised at her with a slight blush. I was forgotten by my village and by the very young boys I trained to be men. I disappeared and was never seen again. My death became a mystery and I ended up becoming a vengeful spirit. I lived a lonely life. My mother died of childbirth because of my abnormal growth. My father abandoned me after realizing I was something entirely different, she spoke with sorrow looking at her fused partner. Before any of you ask if that's Hachishaku-sama's actual origin, no it's not. Believe me, I've tried looking up for her backstory which I couldn't find, so had to make it up and use the Toshi Densetsu Hachishaku-sama reference. And you were sealed away by monks, were you not? Asked Origa-shaku-sama as she has seen a memory of Hachishaku-sama sealed away. Correction, I was sealed away. There was 4 monks that attempted to seal me away to stop me from killing any more children. There was the monks of the east, west, south, and north. I challenged each of these monks. I encountered the west monk who was the first one to die at my hands. The north monk met his end right after I killed the west monk. The south monk and I had a very fun dance of the death, but unfortunately I killed him as well. Hachishaku-sama answered with a scowl as she remembered how she fought the monks. The east monk? Questioned Origa-shaku-sama, wanting to know what happened to him. I've nearly killed him had his master not stepped in and stopped me from trying to kill him. They both fought together against me and to a result they managed to defeat me by sealing me away in a damn Jizo seal statue. Before I was sealed I took the life of the East Monk's master, in a final attempt of taking my enemies down with me, but unfortunately the little bastard is alive while I killed his master. Hachishaku-sama said, replaying that exact event in her mind on how she was sealed. You don't think it's possible that the East Monk is still alive after all these years of you being imprisoned? Origa-shaku-sama asking, seeing Hachishaku-sama look away with a frown. I am not entirely sure. I know he's up to old age by now. The East Monk was the youngest when I fought him. Unlike the other monks I've killed, they were much more mature. But if he is still alive, which I highly doubt, we have to kill him before he becomes a future threat. We can't let him realize I've been set free and is inside you now, said Hachishaku-sama with her fusion partner nodding in understanding, seeing she was right. The East Monk has to die. What are the perks to our fused abilities? Questioned Origa-shaku-sama as Hachishaku-sama grinned. You have my abilities, you have my monster strength, my intangibility, my immortality, my hair hooks, teleportation, manipulate the dead, has the ability to turn anyone into a yokai thrall, my flight, said Hachishaku-sama. Anything else? Asked Origa-sama. Watch this. Hachishaku-sama stood up, flexing her arm, balling her fist as a white bubble formed around her fist and punched the air as you could see the air crack, and tremors soon shook Origa-sama's mindscape. What the hell was that? Said a shocked Origa-sama. I have the power to cause earthquakes. There is a reason why I'm the strongest yokai. With the power of causing great earthquakes, I alone could destroy the world if I wanted to. Spoke Hachishaku-sama to show exactly why she was feared for her power. I have much more powers I will share with you. She spoke. So, tell me the real reason you brought me here. Asked the fused dark elf queen. I hear you're planning on reviving your race, correct? And using Naruto-kun. Due to us fused, there will be a chance that our children won't be just full-blooded dark elves with Namikaze Uzumaki blood. They will also be part yokai. Our children will be very powerful. You've made the right choice in taking Naruto-kun. I have some plans to share since I've been meaning to tell you this, Hachishaku-sama said, smiling. Go ahead, I'm listening, said Origa-sama, interested on what the 8-foot yokai had on her mind as Hachishaku-sama leaned into Origa-sama's ear and started whispering everything she has plans for the future of the elemental nations. So that's how it's going to be. Let Naruto-kun seek vengeance on Konoha while we secretly do something in the shadows to set things in motion. Origa-sama asked with Hachishaku-sama nodding. So, are we in this together? Are we going to raise hell in this land while giving an army of our perfect children to our beloved mate Naruto-kun, sharing him with your little servant? Hachishaku-sama said with an evil wicked smile, putting her hand out in a handshake gesture. Yes, I am in. We have to do this for our future children and to protect Naruto-kun at all costs, Origa-sama said without hesitation, shaking Hachishaku-sama's hand with her own evil smile. Oh yes, with these two perfectly fused together, an alliance has been formed, an alliance between a former dark elf queen and a vengeful 8-foot spirit that preys after children was now born. The next day, so you've leaving, when will you be back? Asked Chloe, who is holding baby Naruto, looking at her former queen. I should be back within 2 hours, there's some things I have to do alone, just take care of Naruto-kun for me, Origa-sama said as she teleported, leaving Chloe alone with Naruto, who stared at her while she stared back. With Origa-sama, she finally made it to her destination, as she has came to a vacant isolated village untouched by the shinobi world and untouched by time as she walked into the village that was in ruins. There it is, she grinned as her right fist balled up glowing burnt orange as she raised her fist in the air. Po po po, Origa-sama chanted, slamming her right fist on the ground as a small tremor and burrowing of children hands popped up out the ground, then dug back underground to dig something out. Smiling evilly, she finally received her prize she was looking for as the hands popped up again holding a skull of a cow. Walking forward, she took the skull, and just grinned staring at it. With Chloe, she stared at baby Naruto, who is in his crib, he stared at her. She wondered why was her queen asking her of this, she just feels conflicted on mating with this boy once he's 12 years of age. Chloe refused being touched by humans. She would do anything to please her queen, but to mate with a human boy? It just didn't seem right. She didn't want to think of her tragic past, her childhood that had been ruined by humans. Chloe had no one in her life but her queen Origa. Her real parents abandoned her while she was sold as a slave. Being reduced as a slave, humans would always touch her, abuse her and have their way with her by getting in her panties. Glaring at Naruto, she scowled. Just why the hell should I mate with you? You'll turn out just like the rest of the humans. She spoke in thought. I don't know what my queen sees in you, but don't get any ideas should I mate with you. She said with a huff, turning away. And the thought of her being a mother, that alone bothered her. She really wasn't ready to be a mother, she just wasn't mother material. She doesn't have it in her to love this human boy, let alone have his child. Sighing as she gave him one look, she couldn't help but feel sorry for him that he was the last of his clan and that his parents are dead. It was almost like her and Naruto would have the same hard lives, together. She couldn't help but feel this way towards him. It's just her nightmares and terrible past always haunts her. She's afraid of being a slave. Afraid of being touched by another human raping her against her will. She just didn't want to go through that. She just hoped her queen knew what she was doing, and hope whatever this path they were walking on is worth it. Seeing that he was asleep, she decided to leave him alone as the Shadokans were guarding young Naruto. Walking down the Uzu vault, she wondered what sacred power could she use. Seeing she would have to be a strong wife for Naruto, she needed some powers too. Walking past a few artifacts, weapons, scrolls, the first thing she saw from her red eyes was a small chest. As she walked towards it, wondering what was inside it. Opening the small chest, she sees a silver bracelet with a red gemstone. Next to the bracelet, she spots a note. Picking it up, opening it as she reads it. This silver bracelet that she is looking at is called a Witchblade, an ancient artifact that turns you into a killing machine or a living weapon. The first one who wore the ancient weapon was Misane Amaha Uzumaki. Putting the note down before turning her attention on the Witchblade, only to find that it wasn't there. Widening her eyes in shock, she wondered where did it go. Looking around until she looked at her right wrist as her blood froze, seeing the Witchblade around her right wrist. How the hell did it get attached around her? She didn't put it on. She tried taking it off only to find out that it won't budge, it's too attached to her. Looking at the note, looking down at the bottom, it said, "The ancient artifact will choose its next wielder. It cannot be removed or damaged. It will stay attached to you no matter what." Frowning after reading the last part, she sighed. She wondered could her queen remove it, as she returned back to check on Naruto. An hour later, Hachishaku-sama returned from her private mission as she went to see how Chloe and Naruto were doing. She saw Chloe feeding Naruto his bottle. As she smiled at the scene, Chloe turned her eyes at her former queen, looking embarrassed. My lady, you're back." Chloe sputtering. "Yes, I have returned. I can see you and Naru-kun are quite bonding well," she asked with a smile, with Chloe slowly nodding her head. "Good to hear. Thought you would be having negative thoughts about our destined future husband," Hachishaku-sama said with a sweet smile as a Hanyu demon mask manifested above her, scaring the hell out of Chloe, who was sweating slightly. "Oh, of course not, my lady," protested Chloe as she saw Hachishaku-sama grin as the mask vanished. Sekirei verse. Mia sneezed. Back to the verse. "Nice accessory. I take it you went to the Uzu vault and found it, did you?" asked Hachishaku-sama, seeing Chloe nod her head as the dark elf teen began explaining what this bracelet was and what it does. She even gave her queen the note that came with the Witchblade. If it's a powerful weapon that was once wielded by Misane Amaha Uzumaki and that it choose you as its new wielder, I suggest you keep it. You might come to like it, spoke Hachishaku-sama, putting away the note before inspecting the Witchblade on Chloe's right wrist. "Well, guess you're right. Maybe it won't hurt to see what it does," Chloe said, looking at the Witchblade on her wrist as she could see the red gemstone gleam slightly. Chloe's red eyes glazed a bit from staring at the Witchblade, as if it was trying to call to her. Shaking her head, waking up from the Witchblade's calling. The two were currently eating dinner that Hachishaku-sama cooked, as baby Naruto was in Hachishaku-sama's purple sash. The elemental nations are in for a big surprise once they know of Hachishaku-sama. 12 years or maybe 11 years they start rebuilding their race and mate with Naruto at a young age, teaching him how to be a man, and father their children and mold him into the perfect husband and Uzumaki heir. Hachishaku-sama did a little digging in on the royal Uzumaki family, and turns out that Naruto Uzumaki is technically a prince. She found that hard to believe that both her and Chloe bagged themselves the last royal Uzumaki heir to the throne. This baby she's now holding is a freaking prince. Kushina Uzumaki is a former Uzu princess, which makes Naruto a prince and royal heir to the Uzu throne. Hachishaku-sama is a former queen from the Discordia royal family. She's marrying a prince, thus making him a king. Could her and Chloe wait until it was the 12th year? As she smiled down upon Naruto, who looked into her eyes. Uzushirogakur 6 years later. A 6-year-old Naruto is currently sitting in the lap of Hachishaku-sama, who is sitting on the royal Uzumaki throne, patting his blonde head that sprouted his orange fox ears as he laid up against her, massive as if he was laying against a soft pillow. During his growth, both Origa-shaku-sama and Chloe taught him how to read, count and other basic stuff. They kept him well fed and healthy, plus have him strong, having him go over his studies in the art of the Uzumaki. So far he's doing good at learning what the Uzumakis were great at, their famous skills for sealing arts. Origa-shaku-sama even taught him some basics on controlling dark magic, even gave him the tattoo of Tarakudo for him to summon his own Shadokans. Origa-shaku-sama modified the tattoo by letting him summon not just the shinobi type of Shadokans but the other tribes as well. Chloe had aged a bit. She looks to be in her early 20s and she has developed fairly. Her chest wasn't a B cup or C cups anymore when she was a teenager. She has double Ds. Her body is an hourglass figure while wearing hybrid Uzu Anbu armor. Her witchblade is still intact and attached to her wrist. She has managed to gain control over the witchblade and not lose herself to insane madness and become a killing machine at the same time. Origa-shaku-sama hasn't changed not one bit. She still wears her black morning dress and black sun hat. Uzushirogakur is finally restored and rebuilt from ruins with the help of the Shadokans. Origa-shaku-sama placed a genjutsu over Uzu to fool anyone who believed that the village is still in ruins while under the illusion it's rebuilt in its glory. Wearing his Uzu kimono garbs, he looked around, then looked towards his future wives. True enough, Naruto was told by Origa-shaku-sama who his parents are and told him of his clan and that he is the royal heir of the Uzu throne. He knows that he is to love both Origa-shaku-sama and Chloe and father his children with them. He became very close with Origa-shaku-sama. He even loved Chloe, who is somewhat neutral. During these 6 years she was starting to grow to like Naruto, but little of her dark past was still holding her back. Sleeping softly on her, Origa-shaku-sama smiled, looking at him as she cradled him in her slender arms. 6 more years and he will be ready, she thought with a grin as Hachishaku-sama within her mindscape smiled as well. During these 6 years Origa-shaku-sama has been planning and scheming in the shadows, setting things into motion just like her and Hachishaku-sama has planned. She was going to find the East Monk and kill him before he winds up becoming a threat and tries to seal her away, which she couldn't let happen. Oh, things were going as planned. With the kind of power she has now, she could conquer Eostia if she wanted to, but that's just too easy for her. For all she cared, she could just destroy Eostia, since she no longer sees it as her home and world now that her sights are set on the elemental nations. The elemental nations is her new home and new domain, and will be a perfect new country for her dark elf children, who will inherit the spirits of yokai and Japanese urban legends along with namikaze and Uzumaki genes. Soon the elemental nations will beware of Origa-shaku-sama. Her, Chloe and Naruto will decimate all shinobi and villages single-handedly to avenge the Uzumaki clan. At Uzu, our blonde foxy Uzumaki was in his bed sound asleep. It was morning as he was safely protected by Origa-shaku-sama's Shadokans at night should someone attempt to invade his room and attack or kidnap him. At the foot of his bed a black lizard that is a newborn with toe claws that are curved similar to those of a velociraptor. It had black quills and a gold-yellow streak running from the base of the neck to its tail. Its jaws were filled with sharp teeth. Now what was this little creature called? It was called the Indoraptor. And this newborn Indoraptor so happens to be Naruto's pet. How did the young boy in question got the creature as his pet? It started on his 6th birthday. Origa-shaku-sama allowed him to go into the Uzu vault to pick his birthday gift. The boy unknowingly went to the summon section of the vault and accidentally unsealed an egg from a scroll. After he touched the egg, the newborn Indoraptor hatched and looked up at Naruto with its red eyes. Origa-shaku-sama and Chloe went inside the vault to see what was taking Naruto so long to find a gift for himself, but they were shocked at the scene when they saw him with the creature. Origa-shaku-sama picked up the unsealed scroll, reading the information for this creature of darkness, and saw that it was a dinosaur, a hybrid of 2 combined species, and that it was the only species of its kind. The creature is a male and has made a connection and bond with Naruto, seeing the boy as his alpha. Naruto gave the Indoraptor a name, he named it Ripper. Ripper sleeps at the foot of Naruto's bed, being the young boy's guard as well. Origa-Shaku-sama makes her appearance with Chloe besides her as she gently caressing Naruto's cheeks as he twisted and turned in his bed with a smile as he snapped opened his eyes and looked up at his future wife. Origa-Shaku-sama, Chloe-chan, he asked in a soft voice as his pet Indoraptor cracked opened its eyes staring at the two dark elf women. Now, let us go, Origa-Shaku-sama said with a smile confusing little Naruto who tilted his head. Where? He asked. To the amusement park, Origa-Shaku-sama said grabbing his hand. Amusement park. Little Naruto could only look surprised as he held Origa-Shaku-sama's big hand while his other one held Chloe's. He saw tons of rides, ice cream stands, playhouses, balloons, a monkey wearing a train conductor hat riding a trolley train. He could only gasp with excitement as he looked up at Origa-Shaku-sama who was smiling. The first ride he got on was a Ferris wheel with Chloe sitting beside him who looked away from him with a slight blush while frowning. Origa-Shaku-sama held a camera taking a picture of the two on the ride. The second ride they got on was the train trolley with the monkey as the train conductor Naruto was sitting beside Origa-Shaku-sama with her slender arm around him pulling him to her side while Chloe was behind them. Then they played games. The first game they played was ring toss. Origa-Shaku-sama tosses 8 rings. Chloe tossed 6 rings. Naruto tossed 9 rings. The three had ice cream while Origa-Shaku-sama and Chloe's eyes widened at the sweet taste of vanilla ice cream. It tasted so good that they enjoyed it. Chloe was too busy enjoying the taste of cotton candy with Origa-Shaku-sama feeding Naruto his cotton candy. These three were having a great time at the amusement park. Naruto played in the pen with colored balls as Origa-Shaku-sama joined him playing with him as Chloe stayed out the pin and was watching in amazement at how much fun her former queen was having with Naruto as a small smile came across her face. She just wished her childhood was like this, but sad part is that her childhood was ruined by humans. Now finally at the prize stand with all of his tickets from playing so many games he earned a few prizes. Looking towards his left he saw Chloe who had a stoic expression looking at the prize has in his hand was a ruby ring, that seemed to match Chloe's red ruby eyes as he given her the ring which baffled her in embarrassment a shade of red on her face as she accepted the ring and put it on her finger while at the same time she felt butterflies flutter in her stomach. Why the hell would she feel that way? Never before she would feel butterflies flutter in her stomach. And she felt slight happiness within her as well. How was this possible? Could it be that she was feeling love for the first time in her life? And Naruto was the cause of it? Origa-Shaku-sama caught this as she smiled. It was going to take a while for Naruto to move the ice and pain from Chloe's terrible past. She knew the boy can warm her heart and give her the happiness she needs. A little more of this and Chloe will accept the boy and return her love to him in the process. Origa-Shaku-sama was enjoying herself with both Naruto and Chloe. Hachishaku-sama within her mindscape suggested that they should have fun together and go to the amusement park. Seeing that it was getting dark, it was time for the trio to leave the amusement park with Chloe carrying Naruto on her back who was asleep while Origa-Shaku-sama was opening a portal to take them back to Uzu while the monkey with the train conductor hat followed them. Back at Uzu, tucking in Naruto in bed with Ripper joining him in bed sleeping on the foot of the bed as Origa-Shaku-sama kissed Naruto on the forehead then left him turning off the lights. Sitting on the Uzu throne alone, thinking and planning. Though she enjoyed her day today at the amusement park as she looked at all the pictures she took with Naruto and Chloe, smiling she put the pictures away. She couldn't wait. 6 more years on his 12th birthday it was his day and time to teach him to be a man, then marry him at a young age. She could not wait to revive her race. But there's one problem though. Before Naruto could impregnate her and Chloe they would need someone with medical knowledge to help them conceive birth, for their future children. Closing her eyes in thought she picked up some of Kushina's memories and saw a blonde-haired woman named Tsunade Senju who is part Uzumaki on her grandma Mito Uzumaki's side and the Senju woman had great knowledge of medical skills. It seems Origa-sama would have to find this Tsunade Senju and have the woman serve them to help them give birth to their future dark elf children. She wasn't going to find Tsunade yet, she still has to do some things in the shadows. When the time was right, she herself will go out looking for Tsunade. Soon enough after Naruto impregnates both her and Chloe, she will set him on the path to avenge his fallen clan, by decimating the 5 shinobi villages one by one. But it seems she would also have to deal with the villages, weapons, the Jinchuriki. She couldn't have that. Maybe she could persuade the Jinchuriki who are like Naruto to join their future kingdom by turning them against their villages. She would need strong yokai thralls too, since Hachishaku-sama explained to her that she can turn anyone into any yokai she wishes. And she needed a thrall now. While she was at it, she's going to find that East Monk and kill him. Hachishaku-sama warned her that he needed to be killed, that is if he is still alive and is currently in exile, meaning he should be up at old age. She has lots of work to do in these upcoming 6 years. Plus she needs to have Naruto learn shinobi skills. It seems he would need a teacher. Getting up from the Uzu throne, she opened a portal, walking inside it as it was taking her to her destination. Konoha outskirts. A rogue Konoha Anbu now walking away covered in blood with his eyes red that looked like a pinwheel. This rogue shinobi was Uchiha Itachi, who abandoned Konoha after killing his clan, sparing his younger brother Sasuke Uchiha. Now that he went rogue, he is to join the Akatsuki as a double agent. Still walking slowly with a stoic expression, he went alarmed when he heard a sound he's never heard of before. Po, 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 po. Drawing out his Tanto and Kunai with his Sharingan activated as he looked into the shadows. Walking closely to the bushes, he heard the sound again. Po, 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 po. Raising a brow in confusion, he wondered what the hell is making that sound. Then all of a sudden his eyes widened in realization, knowing exactly what this chanting was, as he remembered when his mother Makoto Uchiha told him stories of the famed urban legend Hachishaku-sama when he was very young. From the bottom of his heart a shiver ran down his spine and wondered what did Hachishaku-sama want with him. Before he could react, hair hooks had caught him, restraining him very tight as they pulled him in the bushes and inside a portal, as all what was left was his weasel mask.